It should be fairly quick here.
Right. It is in the same update. So.
Since it's done, it should be able to
Okay.
Are you on yet?
Not quite. It's
Okay, I'll just wait a second then.
4-minute update here.
Are we broadcasting yet? We are? Okay, well, good morning. I'd like to call this meeting to order. It's a new year and all the best to everyone. And it just seems like yesterday we were saying it's 2000 and now it's 2023. It's amazing. And today's meeting is being live streamed and recorded on the Township of Muskoka Lakes website and YouTube channel. By participating in the open public meeting today, you are consenting to your image, voice, and comments being recorded and posted online.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get on.
Oh, you're still trying to
I'm
get on?
still trying to get on.
Okay, but just wait 1 second.
Yeah.
I can't.
Morning, Joe. Happy New Year.
It's getting there, sorry.
Okay, that's fine.
Can you see me now?
Yeah. Just, I bet it
Okay, everyone's on. Moved by Member Quinn, second by Member Brown. Be it resolved that Committee of Adjustment agenda dated January 16th, 2023 be adopted. All those in favor? That's carried. And are there any conflicts of interest?
I should be reading my speech. Reading my speech.
Okay,
Ready?
I thought we had adopted the minutes first. And moved by Member Bridgman, second by Member Brown. Be it resolved that Committee of Adjustment minutes dated December 12th, 2022 be adopted and approved as circulated. And I would just like a correction for the spelling of my name on page 5, please. Any other comments? All those in favor? That's carried. Okay, Peter?
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. It's required that I make a few statements and then I'll explain the procedures of the hearing. The electronic hearing is being held in accordance with Section 238 of the Municipal Act 2001 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The members of the Committee of Adjustment present are Alan Edwards, Barb Bridgman, Ruth Ann Brown, Joe Quinn, and Sean Stokes. I confirm we have a quorum. I can also confirm that senior staff and planning staff are present. Public input on this January 16th, 2023 agenda was invited at the following email address, planning@muskokalakes.ca. Should be noted, the motions have been pre-populated with random movers and seconders to expedite the meeting. When it is time to vote, members shall physically raise their hand until the chair has confirmed the vote. If the vote is unclear, a verbal vote shall be recorded. This is not considered a recorded vote. Now I'll explain the hearing process. The planner will provide an explanation and purpose of the application, the date the notice was circulated, and planning staff's comments. All internal and external submissions were sent to committee members on Friday, January 13th, 2023. The planner will present any submissions received after that date. The committee will then hear from the applicant or the applicant's agent if they wish to add any information or to substantiate their proposal. Please provide your name, mailing address, and postal code for our records. The committee will hear from those in support of the application and those in opposition to the application. Again, please provide your name, mailing address, and postal code for our records. Presentations are limited to 5 minutes unless otherwise permitted by the committee. If you are here to speak on an application, please wait to raise your hand in Zoom until the planner presents the relevant application. The committee will then hear from the applicant or the applicant's agent to respond to any questions or concerns raised. The committee will then have the opportunity to ask questions of the applicant and/or staff. The committee will debate the application and make a decision based on the information presented at the hearing. Please note that the effect of written and oral submissions on decisions of applications for consent and minor variances and the reasons for minor variance decisions, as both required under the Planning Act, will be pre-populated with standard wording. However, the committee may decide to add reasons and/or effects to the standard wording after voting on a decision. The resolutions are automatically written in the positive to assist in completing decisions as opposed to writing out each resolution. This does not in any way mean an application is going to be approved. It must be noted the chair has a vote on each application and can participate in the discussion. There is then a 20-day appeal period from the date of the decision. In the case of a minor variance application, a building permit is not available until after the appeal period and no appeals are received. Lastly, please take down the pink notice signs that were posted on your property to advertise today's meeting. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Member Quinn.
I'm going to have to excuse myself from the second item on I see that it's my ex-wife. I didn't realize that. So it's just a member.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and the first application is B 3922 ML Boyd, and that is Ms. Walker.
Good morning, Chair Edwards and members of committee. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. So the first application to be heard is consent application B/39/22ML in the name of Boyd. The subject property does not currently have a municipally assigned address. I would direct committee's attention to the submitted consent sketch starting on page 37 of the agenda package. A severance application has been made to undertake a lot addition. Consent application B/39/22ML proposes to sever a portion of the subject property and add it to an abutting lot. The retained lot is currently vacant. The severed lot contains a driveway, and the benefiting lot contains a dwelling and a detached garage. This application is a change of common lot lines, and no new lots are being created. Notice of this public hearing was circulated 28 days in advance of today's meeting in accordance with the Planning Act, and 6 comments have been received. Comments have been received from Curtis Savret, District Planner, Nick Snyder, the Township's Chief Building Official, Douglas Holland, the Township's Fire Prevention Officer, Tim Sopko, the Township's Public Works Technician, Sandy Boss, Township Septic Inspector, and Bell Canada. These comments were each circulated to committee prior to today's meeting and can be read in full at the request of committee. Staff have prepared a detailed report for committee's consideration and have no objection to application B/39/22ML. If committee is considering approval, staff recommend the following conditions. First, that a registral description/deed of the severed lot and any required rights of ways be submitted to the Secretary Treasurer along with a registered copy of the reference plan. 2, that a legal undertaking be submitted in order to confirm that the severed lot will merge on title to the lot that is being added to upon registration of the transfer/deeds, which may require the passage of a deeming bylaw. And 3, that a consent agreement be entered into under section 5126 of the Planning Act, wherein the owner of the retained lot agrees not to access the retained lot from Bailey Street, nor to establish a driveway connection between Bailey Street and Duke Street. Staff have no further comments, but I'm happy to assist committee with any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Walker. And is the applicant or applicant's agent here wishing to speak on this? I see Mr. Boyd.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Yeah, I do not really need to speak on it other than to thank Caitlin for her assistance in the planning department. I'm in agreement with the Public Works section not to put a driveway through. And in fact, that's currently there could be a driveway put through because the property goes from one road to the other. And our severance is exactly opposite to stop that. So no other comments required. Thank you to everyone for the consideration.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in support? Anyone in opposition? Pardon? Oh, I'm sorry. We need your actual address and postal code, please.
9 Bailey Street, box 478, Port Carling, Ontario, P0B1J0.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
No one in opposition? Okay, are there questions from the members? Seeing none. Moved by member Brogan Green, second by member Quinn. Be it resolved, consent be granted for application B/3922ML Boyd, provided the following conditions are fulfilled. 1, a registral description deed of the severed lot and any required right-of-ways be submitted to the Secretary Treasurer, along with a registered copy of the reference plan. 2, that a legal undertaking be submitted in order to confirm that the severed lot will merge in title to the lot it is being added to upon registration of the transfers/deed, which may require the passage of a deeming bylaw. And 3, that a consent agreement be entered into section 5126 of the Planning Act, whereas the owner of the retained lot agrees not to access retained lot from Bailey Street, nor to establish a driveway connection between Bailey Street and Duke Street. And are there any questions or comments? All those in favor? And that is carried. Yes. And the next application is A 4722 ML Balint and Samuel. And that is Ms. Walker.
Thank you, Chair Edwards. The next application to be heard is consent application B/47/22ML and the name of Balint and Samuel. The subject property is known municipally as 1018 West Whites Road. I would direct committee's attention to the submitted consent sketch starting on page 53 of the agenda package. The severance application has been made to undertake a lot addition. Consent application B/47/22ML proposes to sever a portion of the subject lot and add it to the abutting property to the east. The proposed severance is a change of common lot lines and no new lots are being created. Notice of this public hearing was circulated 26 days in advance of today's meeting in accordance with the Planning Act, and 6 comments have been received to date. Comments have been received from Curtis Sabret, District Planner, Nick Snyder, the Township's Chief Building Official, Douglas Holland, the Township's Fire Prevention Officer, Tim Sopko, the Township's Public Works Technician, Sandy Boss, Township Septic Inspector, and Bell Canada. These comments were circulated to committee prior to today's meeting, and I can read any of the comments in full at the request of committee. Staff have prepared a detailed report for committee's consideration and have no objection to application B/47/22ML. If committee is considering approval, staff recommend the following conditions. 1, that a registrable description of the severed lot and any required rights of ways be submitted to the Secretary Treasurer along with the registered copy of the reference plan. 2, that confirmation be received that the township is satisfied that the retained lot is satisfactory for on-site sewage disposal and any problems identified with the existing sewage system on the retained lot be corrected to the satisfaction of the township. And 3, that a legal undertaking be submitted in order to confirm that the severed lot will merge on title to the lot it's being added to upon registration of the transfer/deeds, which may include the breaking of consent. I have no further comments, but I'm happy to assist committee with any questions they may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Parker. And is the applicant or applicant's agent here wishing to speak on this? Applicant, okay, would you bring them in, please?
Hello, we're just making ourselves available in case you have any questions. This is Kathy Samuel of 1018 West Whites Road, POB 1JO.
Okay, thank you very much. And is there anyone else in support? Anyone in opposition? Are there questions from the members? Seeing none. Moved by member Bridgman, second by member Stokes. Be it resolved that consent be granted for application B/47/22ML, Balint and Samuel, providing the following conditions are fulfilled. 1, a registrable description deed of the severed lot and any required right-of-way be submitted to the Secretary Treasurer along with a registered copy of the reference plan. 2, that confirmation be received that the township is satisfied that the retained lot is satisfactory for on-site sewage disposal and that any problems identified in any existing sewage system on the retained lot be corrected to the satisfaction of the township. And 3, that a legal undertaking be submitted in order to confirm that the severed lot will merge in title to the lot is being added to upon registration of the transfers/deeds, which may include canceling consent. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? And that's carried. And moving right along, B/49/22ML Coles, and that is Ms. Mulholland.
Thank you, Chair Edwards. Good morning. Good morning, committee. The next application to be heard is consent application B/49/22ML in the name of Coles. The subject lands are known municipally as 1413 Brackenridge Road, Unit 6. I would direct the committee's attention to the submitted consent sketch on page 63 of the agenda package. The purpose and effect of the application is as follows. Consent application B/49/22ML grants a right-of-way over part of an existing private road owned by Peter and Christine Coles in favor of property owned by Alan and Perry Luprieta. Excuse my pronunciation. Notice of this public hearing under the Planning Act was circulated 26 days in advance of today's hearing, and 6 submissions have been received to date. Comments have been received from Nick Snyder, the Township Chief Building Official, Sandy Boss, the Township Building Inspector, Douglas Holland, the Township's Fire Prevention Officer, the District of Muskoka, and Bell Canada, all stating that they have no objection to the application. Comments have been received from Tim Sopko, the Township's Public Works Technician, stating that the road has not been reviewed by Public Works staff and road access for emergency services may be limited and or unavailable via the proposed road access. No public comments have been received, and these comments were circulated to committee prior to today's meeting. Staff have prepared a detailed report for committee's consideration and recommend approval. If committee is considering approval, staff recommend the following condition: that a registrable deed description deed of this severed lot right of way be submitted to the Secretary Treasurer along with a registered copy of the reference plan. Staff have no further comments at this time and are happy to answer any questions from committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mulholland. And we have the applicant's agent here, I believe. Okay,
Good morning, Chair.
good morning.
Morning. Nice to meet you. Good morning, members of committee. Nice to meet everyone this morning. My name is Victoria Lemieux, and I'm a senior planner with Morgan Planning and Development. And I'm here on behalf of the owners of both the subject lands as well as the benefiting lands. So the lands who would be obtaining that legal access over the right of way. We did prepare a presentation, but I do believe the application is relatively straightforward. So we can bring that up if anyone might have any questions for us. But in the meantime, just wanted to, again, thank staff for all their help on the application. And we believe the application is technical in nature and relatively straightforward. Again, we're just looking to legalize an existing access that has been there for a number of years and believe it meets all applicable policies. So thank you very much. And I'm here for any questions.
Okay, thank you. I have to ask, is there anyone else here wishing to speak in support? Anyone in opposition? Are there questions from the members? Yes, Member Brisbane.
Thank you, Chair Edwards. I just have a question about when we do this. I don't have a problem with this happening, but apparently we're not sure we can get our emergency vehicles in there. And if that's the case, does that not go somewhere in this right of way that they're taking responsibility for that? It's just, I'm not sure what the answer to that would be. And I don't know if Ms. Mulholland would have an answer for that.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Mulholland?
Thank you through you, Chair. Yeah, so that comment from Public Works is basically just to kind of informational. It's just stating that for everybody's information that if emergency access is needed, it might not be available because we're not able to inspect private roads. It's when someone does a right of way, they do have to do a private agreement. So it does become a private matter from there, and we don't take on any liability.
Okay, does that answer your question? Good. Is there any other questions or comments? Moved by Member Groveland Green, second by Member Stokes. Be it resolved that consent be granted for application B 4922 ML Coles, provided the following condition is fulfilled. 1, a registrable description deed of the severed lot right of way be submitted to the Secretary Treasurer along with a registered copy of the reference plan. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? And that is carried.
Thank you, everyone.
And our next application is A 5121, and that is Ms. Crowder.
Thank you, Chair Edwards, and good morning, members of committee. The next application to be heard is minor variance application A5121 in the name of Hettinga and Wolnik. The subject lands are known municipally as 1078 Strachan Road. I would direct committee's attention to the submitted site plan on page 81 of the agenda package. The purpose and effect of this application is as follows: to construct a habitable basement foundation within an existing dwelling footprint, an addition to the dwelling, a sun deck addition to the dwelling, and a new sleeping cabin with an associated sun deck. Notice of this public hearing under the Planning Act was circulated 25 days in advance of this meeting, and 3 submissions have been received to date. Comments have been received from Tim Sopko, the township's public works technician, stating that they have no objection to the application. Comments have been received from Nick Snyder, the township's chief building official, stating that they have no objection to the application. And comments have also been received from Ryan Murrell, the township's fire chief, detailing emergency services response time for the property. These comments can be read in full at the request of committee. The application was previously circulated in October of 2021 and was adjourned by Committee of Adjustment until such time that it be confirmed that the proposed development is not within the floodway. A survey was provided to the township to verify that the proposed development is not within the floodway. Due to the changeover of the committee since the application was adjourned, the application was recirculated. Staff have prepared a detailed report for committee's consideration and have recommended that the application be approved, subject to the following condition: that the existing privy be removed as intended. Staff have no further comments at this time and are happy to answer any questions from committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Crowder. And is the applicant's agent here wishing to speak on this? I believe it's the applicant.
Hi, my name is Gene Hettinga. I live at 56 Glen Huron Drive, Springwater, Ontario. I'm here as the applicant, and I have nothing to add other than I'm available for any questions that you may have.
Can we have your postal code, please?
Sure, L9X0T8.
Okay, thank you very much. And is there anyone else here wishing support of this? Anyone in opposition to this? Okay, are there questions from the members? Seeing none. Moved by Member Brown, second by Member Bridgman. Be it resolved that application A 5121 Hettinga and Wolnik to permit the construction of a habitable basement foundation within an existing dwelling footprint, in addition to the dwelling, a sun deck addition to the dwelling, and a new sleeping cabin with an associated sun deck is hereby approved with the following variance being granted. 1, to permit a maximum lot coverage of 1,764 square feet or 8.8%. 2, to permit a front yard setback of 14.5 feet at the closest point from the high water mark for a basement foundation. 3, to permit a front yard setback of 36 feet from the high water mark for the sun deck addition to the dwelling. 4, to permit a front yard setback of 41.5 feet from the high water mark for the sleeping cabin. And 5, to permit a front yard setback of 39 feet from the high water mark for a sun deck associated with a sleeping cabinet. These variants are granted as shown on the plan attached to the notice of decision and are subject to the following condition: that the existing privy be removed as intended. This approval shall remain in effect for 3 years from the date of the decision. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? And that's carried. And the next application is a 8022 Sandor and Shore. And that's Ms. Crowder.
Thank you, Chair Edwards. The next application to be heard is minor variance application A8022 in the name of Sandor and Shore. The subject lands are known municipally as 1096 Pine Needle Point Road. I would direct committee's attention to the submitted site plan on page 112 of the agenda package. The purpose and effect of the application is as follows: to construct a second-story addition to an existing two-story dwelling. Notice of this public hearing under the Planning Act was circulated 25 days in advance of this meeting, and 5 submissions have been received to date. Comments have been received from Tim Sopko, the Township's Public Works Technician, and Nick Snyder, the Township's Chief Building Official, both stating that they have no objection to the application. Comments were received from Douglas Holland, the Township's Fire Prevention Officer, stating that they have no objection to the application, and further providing details regarding timing of emergency services to access the property in the event of a fire. A letter of support was received from Bruce and Kathy Bodden, adjacent property owners to the northwest of the subject property. Following circulation of comments to committee, a letter of support was received from Margaret, John, and David Hillier, abutting property owners to the southeast of the subject property. Staff have prepared a detailed report for committee's consideration and have recommended that the application be approved subject to the following conditions: that the existing dock be reduced in width and that the existing shed be removed. Staff have no further comments at this time and are happy to answer any questions from committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Crowder. And is the applicant or applicant's agent here wishing to speak on this? Okay.
Hello, good morning. It's Grant Cleveland here. I'm representing my clients, Ian Shore and Elaine Sandor and Gary Sandor. And I'm really here just to answer any questions that you may have on the application and provide some background if required.
Okay, we need your full name, address, and postal code, please.
Yeah, sure. My address is 21 Armstrong Street in Bracebridge, P1L1C1.
Okay, thank you. And I see Mr. Shore is there, I believe.
Yes, this is Ian Shore. I'm here as the applicant and certainly happy to answer any questions and anything I can do to help the committee.
Okay, thank you very much. And I should have your name, address, and postal code, please.
Yeah, so it's Ian Shore. Address is 5 Brockington Crescent, Toronto. Postal code M3H4S9.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in support? Anyone in opposition? Okay, thank you very much. And are there questions from the members? Seeing none. Oh, yes. Okay, who would like to go first?
Go ahead, Barb.
Thanks, Lisa. Doesn't really matter. Just a question. Staff is recommending that the width of the dock be reduced. Can I ask for a number and why that wouldn't be in the motion? Ms. Crowder?
Thank you. Through you, Chair Edwards. Member Bridgman, we had included in the report that we would leave this at the discretion of committee to determine the extent of the width to be removed. We had some discussions internally about what portion we would recommend to be reduced, and ultimately decided that we would like to leave this at the discretion of committee.
A follow-up, Chair Edwards?
Yes.
So just recap for me, what's the current width and what's allowed on this property?
Yes, thank you. Through you, Chair Edwards. Let me just pull my numbers up here. Yeah, so the current dock width is 50.97 feet. And just bear with me and I'll pull up what would be permitted.
In the report, I think it said
Sorry, this is Grant, the applicant. I believe it's 23 feet at 25% of the frontage.
Thank you. Yes, I'm just seeing it here. 25% of the lot frontage or 23.3 feet.
Yeah.
First of all, is that satisfy you, Member Bridgman?
Well, yes, but that's actually almost double what is allowed.
That's right.
So I'm having difficulty with not looking at that as a committee. So maybe I'll let some other members speak before I form some other thoughts.
Okay, just one second. Do you want to speak? Oh, just a
Good morning, committee, and through you, Chair Edwards. I just wanted to provide a bit of context with respect to staff's recommendation. Obviously, what's in front of us is a reduced front yard setback for a second-story dwelling addition. Staff have looked at that in the overall context of the property as it exists today, which is undersized due to its frontage. It is over lot coverage. The dock is over width. There's a sleeping cabin on the property that's oversized. So, you know, it's getting to the point where staff are concerned that if the addition is constructed, that built form may begin to dominate over natural form on this property, and hence staff's recommendation. We were somewhat hesitant to specify a number in a report and thought that it may be best to have that discussion as a committee, perhaps with input from the applicant with respect to what would be seen as a preferred reduction, and we could have that conversation here. So I just thought perhaps before we get into a broader discussion on that point, I would provide a bit of context with respect to our recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And member Logan Green, you had a question?
I did. Am I muted?
No, you're fine.
Okay. I just wondered how wide the boat port is, like just to get a sense of what we have to work with in terms of the dock. I assume that the two of them are together, obviously, the 51 feet or 50 feet, or it includes the boat port.
Yes, Mr. Cleveland, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, on the site plan, the boat port is only covering one, the smaller of the two slips, and it's 10.5 feet wide.
Okay. So then it could be reduced down?
Are you asking me?
Well, actually, Mr. Shore has his hand up.
Yep.
Yeah, I just thought I could maybe add some further clarity, and it's on the site plan that's in the report, but of that 51 feet of width, about 17 feet, or about a third, is really representing kind of a walkway along the shoreline. We don't really use it as dock space. It's not used for storage of boats. It's not used for sitting on as a dock would. It's really to protect the shoreline from erosion and to use for launching a personal watercraft from the shoreline. So it's we think it adds to the aesthetics of the property to have that additional dock that's, I guess, now included in this measurement that you have of 51 feet.
Right.
So I just wanted to raise that clarification.
Okay, thank you. And yes, Member Grogan Green.
Yeah, I mean, my feeling related to that is that, the natural shoreline is probably better to be left for, environmental reasons. So if it's not something that is, absolutely necessary, it seems that that would be a piece of the dock to go in order for, still to allow swimming and everything off of the dock that it would normally be used.
Yeah.
I don't know how long that is, but maybe that's the part that could go.
Okay, I'm looking at page 98. So the piece that goes along the shoreline, so is there like 3 finger docks there?
That's correct. Yeah,
Pardon?
there's 3 fingers of the dock, as Mr. Shore suggested, there's a 17.28 feet section along adjacent to the shore, which is a sort of a connector between the fingers. So yeah, that would be.
Where could that go?
So if the finger dock and the piece joining it from the boat port, what would the measurement being for the dock on either side of the boat port?
The dock on either side of the boat port is 27.3.
27.3. Okay, any other comments from the committee? What are your thoughts on this? Member Bridgman?
Thank you, Chair Edwards. I agree with Member Grogan Green here. I don't think taking that other dock away, it's obviously useful for them, or you take the other dock away, sorry, let me start that again. The in between as natural shoreline, it would be, in my humble opinion, better for the environment. So if we got rid of that 17 feet, at least we're down to 33 feet, 34 feet.
Yep.
I can live with that a lot better than double what is allowed. So I would be happy to do that.
Okay, any other thoughts? Yes, Member Quinn.
I could support that. I agree with that, removing of that 17 feet.
Okay. So we're down to 34 feet. Is this what the rest of you would like? The rest of committee? Yes. Oh, just a minute.
Thank you, Chair Edwards. I'm wondering if it would be possible to share the site plan on screen, just so that I can clarify exactly what portion of dock that we're removing here, just so that staff understand going forward. Can I? Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Cochran. So I believe it's essentially the northwesterly portion of dock that committee's intending to remove. Is that correct?
I believe that's what Member Bridgman was asking.
So, Mr. Sharp, I think it's in between those docks. There's a walkway in between, from what I can understand, in between the boat port and the other dock. And that's the 17 feet that we are talking about, unless I've really misunderstood this.
Okay, so on the site plan, there's a number that's indicated 39.14 feet, and that's indicated as the side yard setback to the boat port. And there's essentially a walkway along the shore, or a dock connection. So it would be the removal of that portion?
Correct.
Okay. I think if I may make a suggestion, I think what we could do in this case is staff, we could have a condition that would just say removal of a portion of the dock, and I think it could be just noted in the minutes, this discussion, and staff can proceed on that basis with fulfilling a condition versus trying to work out the numbers. I do regret that this may be a bit confusing for committee, but we were just a bit hesitant to make a explicit recommendation of going forward into the meeting as part of our report. So apologies for the confusion. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Cleveland, I will let you speak, although it's gone to committee.
Thanks. Yeah, just on behalf of the owners, I know that we did discuss this eventuality of, potentially giving up this portion of the dock. And I guess there was some question as to, how does the one relate to the other? The minor variance obviously is for a setback, front setback, and an addition of a second story. And this dock has been here since as long as my clients can recall, since they've sort of had the property anyway. So yeah, I just for them, I guess, some explanation as to how one relates to the other.
I'd leave that up to the planner, but I would say it's bringing more into conformity with it should be.
Yeah, through you, Chair Edwards, I can answer
Yes, go
that.
ahead.
So essentially, when staff look at an application, we're looking at a property in its totality. And in this situation, the property has several legal non-complying situations. And when there is a legal non-complying situation, you're permitted to replace that one for one. But when you're seeking to make changes to the property, we are seeking a net improvement over the existing situation. So while the variance is requested for the dwelling, staff are able to make a recommendation to suggest improvements in other aspects of the property to try to help compensate and bring the property into further compliance with the official plan and zoning bylaw as they are today.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? And I'll read the resolution. Moved by Member Brown, second by Member Bridgman. Be it resolved that application A 8022 Shore and Sandor to permit a second story addition to an existing one-story dwelling is hereby approved, with the following variance being granted. 1, to permit a front yard setback of 34 feet at the closest point for the addition, and 2, to permit an interior side lot line to be 13 feet at the closest point from the southeasterly interior side lot line. These variants are granted as shown on the plan attached to the notice of decision and are subject to the following condition: that the north and westerly dock connection be removed, and 2, that the existing shed be removed. This approval shall remain in effect for 3 years from the date of decision. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? That is carried. The next application is A 8822, and that is Walton, and that is Ms. Crowder.
Thank you, Chair Edwards. The next application to be heard is minor variance application A 8822 in the name of Walton. The subject lands are known municipally as 1059 Mackenzie Road, Unit 20. I would direct committee's attention to the submitted site plans on pages 127 and 128 of the agenda package. The purpose and effect of the application is as follows: to construct a dock addition. Notice of this public hearing under the Planning Act was circulated 25 days in advance of this meeting, and 4 submissions have been received to date. Comments have been received from Tim Sopko, the Township's Public Works Technician, Nick Snyder, the Township's Chief Building Official, and Douglas Holland, the Township's Fire Prevention Officer, all stating that they have no objection to the application. A letter of objection was received from Barbara Boyer, area property owner, stating concerns related to the accuracy of the submitted site plans and tree removal. Staff have prepared a detailed report for committee's consideration and have recommended that the application be adjourned for the completion of a satisfactory sketch prepared by an Ontario land surveyor. Township records relating to the subject property revealed that a sketch of the property had been prepared by an Ontario land surveyor in 2010, and that this survey differs from the site plan submitted, particularly in regard to the side yard setback for the proposed dock. Staff have no further comments at this time and are happy to answer any questions from committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I see Ms. Walton is in. Okay.
Hi there. Hi, everyone. Hi, Chair.
Oh.
My name's Shauna Walton. My address is 1059 Mackenzie Road in Gravenhurst, P1P1R2. I believe my home postal code is listed, which is M5N2X9.
Okay.
I don't have anything further to add if there's no comments, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, just have to ask, is there anyone else here wishing to speak in support? Anyone in opposition? Okay, the recommendation was to adjourn this until we get it and that properly laid out. Is this the wish of the committee? Yes? Okay, so I'm sorry, we're going to adjourn this till we get all the information.
Sorry, can I just understand that better?
Yes, I believe what I heard from the staff, but I will ask again. Ms. Crowder, you said there was a discrepancy in the surveys?
Yeah, so thank you, through you, Chair Edwards. When we took a look at the history of this property, we were able to recover a survey from 2010, and the lot statistics and particularly the setbacks of the dock, when comparing the survey from 2010 and the submitted site plans for this application, there were some discrepancies in the numbers and the projection of the side lot line. So staff have some questions about the accuracy of the submitted site plans and the potential for the projected dock addition to be within the side yard. If that is the case, then we would need to recirculate the application, including a side yard setback relief. The application, as was submitted, did not request a side yard setback relief for the dock. So it would need to be recirculated if that is the case. So we would need a survey to confirm what the exact setbacks of the existing dock and the dock addition are.
Okay, Ms. Walton, do you understand that?
I believe so. So just what are the next steps that I need to do in order to move this forward? I need to do that, or the township does that?
You would need to do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So that
okay.
is and the next application is A8922 Wilson. And that is Rachel Mulholland.
Thank you, Chair Edwards. The next application to be heard is minor variance application A8922 in the name of Wilson. The subject lands are known municipally as 1075 Fairlea Park Road. I would direct committee's attention to the submitted proposed site plan on page 148 of the agenda package. The purpose and effect of the application are summarized as follows. The applicants propose to demolish a single-story dwelling with a walkout basement and a detached garage, and propose to construct a new two-story dwelling with a walkout basement and an attached garage. A variance is requested to permit the lot coverage of the entire lot to be 2,206 square feet or 11%, where 2,008 square feet or 10% is required. A variance is also requested to permit the lot coverage within 200 feet of the high water mark to be 2,206 square feet or 11%, where 2,006 square feet or 10% is required. Notice of this public hearing under the Planning Act was circulated 13 days in advance of today's hearing, and 5 submissions have been received to date. Comments have been received from Nick Snyder, the Township Chief Building Official, Sandy Boss, the Township Building Inspector, and Douglas Holland, the Township Fire Prevention Officer, all stating that they have no objection to the application. Comments were received from Tim Sopko, the Township's Public Works Technician, with a quick summary that a hydrometer and generator on the road allowance associated with Fairley Park Road should be removed from the road allowance in the case of the approval of the application. Public comments were received and are summarized as follows. The neighbors to the northwest at 1073 Fairley Park Road indicated that they have no concerns and that they were in favor of the proposal. The neighbors to the southeast at 1077 Fairley Park Road indicated that they are supportive of the proposal and appearance of the resultant cottage. These comments were circulated to committee prior to today's meeting and can be read in full at the request of committee. Staff have prepared a detailed report for committee's consideration and have no objection. If committee is considering approval, staff recommend the following conditions: that the detached garage be removed as intended, and that the generator and hydrometer serving the subject property be removed from the road allowance associated with Fairley Park Road to the satisfaction of the township. Staff have no further comments at this time and are happy to answer any questions from committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I see we have Mr. Allison. Okay.
Good morning. Morning, Chair Edwards and committee members. Zachary Allison, PO Box 476, Port Carling, Ontario, P0B1J0. Thank you for your time this morning. I am here to speak on behalf of Michelle and Graham Wilson and their application. I'll just give you a very brief history of the property here. Our clients purchased the property in 2019. They haven't completed any work on the property since they purchased it. And when they purchased the property, municipal records show that everything was proper with the planning, and that all applications had gone through the township for the buildings that were on the site. When the Wilsons chatted with us in 2021 about doing an addition to their cottage, the first thing we did was go to an Ontario land surveyor, just because some things didn't seem quite right on our initial assessment of the property, and we were concerned about coverage. The Ontario land surveyor found that there were a few issues with the property that were making it legally non-conforming or non-compliant anyways. The garage that had been built by the previous owner was built within the side yard setback and only had a 9-foot setback. That was an approved building by the township, but it had not been surveyed, and so it was located incorrectly on the property. There was a closed permit on that application though. And the second note was when we completed the land survey, there was a coverage issue that was discovered. The buildings had a cumulative area of 11.2% rather than the 11% that had been granted by the township through a previous application of minor variance, which was to build the garage. Our recommendation in working with planning at the township to the Wilson family was that in order to rebuild the cottage, we would like to try to bring it back into conforming status. So the application shows that we'd like to remove the garage that is non-compliant, and we'd actually like to shrink the built form on the property down to the 11%. I think it's a pretty generous offer on our clients, and we've been working extensively with planning on this for the last couple of years. So if there are any questions, I'm happy to help you guys out, but I think it's a solid application, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Allison. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in support or opposition? Okay, questions from the members? Oh,
sorry, there is one person who just put their hand up.
sorry, okay, we'll bring them in.
Chair Edwards, while we're waiting, I would just add that we are happy to oblige with the town's request to move the generator and the panel back off the township right of way as part of their.
That would be a condition, but thank you. And is that person in now? Okay. Yes, can I have your name and address and postal code, please?
Yes, my name is Ron Jones, PO Box 61, Minette, Ontario, POB 1JO.
Okay.
I'm a direct neighbor to the cottage. And we support the application. It looks like it would be a wonderful addition to our island and our property. Our only concern is we want to ensure that there be no blasting within 100 feet of our cottage. It'd be about 50 feet actually. So we just want to make sure there's no blasting as part of the project. That's all. Other than that, we support it fully.
Okay. I don't know if there would be. I know controlled blasting is, it's changed over the years. And that because I had blasting done within a foot of my wall. So, and that, I don't think that's a problem, but Mr. Allison, maybe you could comment on that.
Thank you, Chair Edwards. At this time, we're not sure what's going to happen with the site development there. We haven't dug any test holes right now. There is a basement on the property. The majority of the proposed new dwelling is in the footprint of the existing cottage so that we can save the mature pine trees that are on the lake side of the dwelling. If there is any blasting that needs to take place on the property as part of the site work, our blasters are fully insured, and there's always, anytime there's a residence within proximity, there's a pre-blast survey done, and that's pretty standard in the industry. And then the blasters insurance would cover any damage to windows or foundation. In my 20 years of building around the lake, we've never had an issue with proximity damage to blasting. As Chair Edwards said, we've even blasted underneath existing buildings to create basements and crawl spaces. And it's not something to be too concerned about, but certainly all the precautions will be taken and everybody will be insured and the correct procedure will be taken if we do need to blast.
Okay, thank you very much.
Other than that, all looks good.
Thanks,
Okay,
Ron.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any questions or comments from the committee? Moved by Member Stokes, second by Member Brogan Green. Be it resolved that application A 8922 Wilson to permit a two-story dwelling with a walkout basement and an attached garage is hereby approved with the following variances being granted. 1, permit a maximum lot coverage of 2,206 square feet or 11% of the area of the entire lot. And 2, permit a maximum lot area 2,206 square feet or 11% within 200 feet of the high water mark. These variances are granted as shown on the plan attached to the notice of decision and are subject to the following conditions. 1, the detached garage be removed as intended, and 2, that the generator and hydrometer serving the subject property be removed from the road allowance associated with Fairley Park Road to the satisfaction of the township. This approval shall remain in effect for 3 years from the date of decision. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? That is carried. And the next application is A10122 Cooper, and that is Ms. Crowder again.
Thank you, Chair Edwards. The next application to be heard is minor variance application A10122 in the name of Cooper. The subject lands are known municipally as 1103 Hallett Road, Unit 2. I would direct committee's attention to the submitted site plan on page 173 of the agenda package. The purpose and effect of the application is as follows: to construct an addition to an existing dwelling. Notice of the public hearing under the Planning Act was circulated 13 days in advance of this meeting, and 3 submissions have been received to date. Comments have been received from Tim Sopko, the Township's Public Works Technician, Nick Snyder, the Township's Chief Building Official, and Douglas Holland, the Township's Fire Prevention Officer, all stating that they have no objection to the application. Staff have prepared a detailed report for committee's considerations and have recommended that the application be approved. Staff have no further comments at this time and are happy to answer any questions from committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I see we have the owner and the owner's agent here. Who would like to speak first? Okay. Tracy Owen, go ahead, Tracy.
Good morning, Chair Edwards and rest of committee. My name is Tracy Owen. I'm an architectural designer with the Drawing Board in Port Carling. The address is 6 Duke Street, Port Carling, Ontario, P0B1J0. Thank you. I think this is a fairly straightforward application. We have a request for additional lot coverage to 8.8%. The existing dwelling is fairly modest, a single story. We have a sleeping cabin, which is actually under roof connected with a breezeway to the dwelling. So it is currently appreciated as one building, although we do have the 2 uses. What we're proposing to do is to enclose the walkway and put on a small addition. The addition is completely in the rear of the structure, so there is no appreciable difference to the waterfront. About as small as we could get at 65 square feet for the actual addition. So hopefully this is fairly straightforward, and I'm happy to answer any questions. The Coopers are online as well, should you have any questions for the owners.
All right, thank you. And I see, and that Mrs. Cooper, would you like to speak on this?
I don't have anything to say at this time, but I would be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, just for the record, can we have your full name, address, and postal code, please?
It's Colleen Cooper, 517 Queensdale Court, Waterloo, Ontario, N2T1P6.
Okay, thank you very much. And is there anyone else wishing to speak in support or opposition? No one else? Are there questions from the members? Seeing none. Moved by Member Brown, second by Member Bridgman. Be it resolved that application A10122 Cooper to permit an addition to an existing dwelling is hereby approved, with the following variance being granted. 1, to permit a maximum lot coverage of 1,790 square feet or 8.8% within 200 feet of the high water mark. This variance is granted as shown on the plan attached to the notice of decision. This approval shall remain in effect for 3 years from the date of decision. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? That is carried. And the next one is A10222 Harrigan, and that is Lisa Gillen.
Thank you and good morning, Chair Edwards and committee. The next application to be heard is minor variance application A-102/22 in the name of Hannigan. The subject lands are known municipally as 4735 Muskoka Road 169. I would direct committee's attention to the submitted site plan on page 176 of the agenda package. The purpose and effect of this application is to construct a 1-story addition to an existing dwelling. The applicants are proposing to construct the addition at a setback of 21 feet from the high water mark. Notice of this public hearing under the Planning Act was circulated 13 days in advance of this meeting, and no submissions from neighbors or members of the public have been received to date. Comments have been received from Tim Sopko, the Township's Public Works Technician, Nick Snyder, the Township's Chief Building Official, and Douglas Holland, the Township's Fire Prevention Officer, all stating no objections to the application. Staff have prepared a detailed report for committee's consideration and have recommended that the requested variance from the front yard setback be approved. Staff have no further comments at this time and are happy to answer any questions from committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And is the applicant's agent here? And I believe we have an agent as well.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair Edwards, members of the committee, township staff for your time today. I'm Eric Muntz of the DeCorning Group at 3 Armstrong Point Road, Carling, Ontario, P0B1J0. And I'll just touch on some of the points on why I believe this should be approved today. The height is quite low for the existing dwelling and the addition. The existing dwelling is only roughly 25 feet in height, just 10 feet below the 35-foot max height. And the addition is only around 17 feet in height. The area of the addition within the 50 feet of the high water mark is only 331 square feet, and the majority of the addition sits beyond the 50-foot mark. The overall width of the cottage within 50 feet is only increasing by roughly 7 feet. There's very little, if any, effect to the existing vegetation. Staff has noted this in the report as well. The majority of existing vegetation in the shoreline buffer appears to be coniferous and is robust and is sheltering the existing cottage and the addition from the lake. And it looks like the owner has done a good job at maintaining this, as it looks to be completely maintained and untrimmed. For these reasons, I do believe the impact of the addition to be very minimal and maintains the existing characteristics of the property. I am here to assist in answering any questions you may have, and I believe the owner is in attendance to assist as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And is there anyone else wishing to speak in support? Anyone in opposition? Very good. Other questions from the members? Seeing none?
I believe the applicant wanted to speak.
Oh, okay. That's why I had asked. Does the applicant want to speak?
He's not movable.
Oh,
Okay. Moved by member Stokes, second by member Quinn. Be it resolved that application A-102-22 Hannigan to permit the construction of a one-story addition onto an existing dwelling is hereby approved, with the following variance being granted. 1, to permit a front yard setback of 21 feet at the closest point from the front lot line high water mark for a dwelling addition. This variance is granted as shown on the plan attached to the notice of decision. This approval shall remain in effect for 3 years from the date of decision. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? That is carried.
Thank you all. Have a good day.
Thank you. The next application is A-103-22, and that's Ms. Walker.
Thank you, Chair Edwards. The next application to be heard is minor variance application A-103/22 in the name of Morrow and Mesdrek. The subject property is known municipally as 1028 Sunset Bay Boulevard. I would direct committee's attention to the submitted site plan on page 211 of the agenda package. The purpose and effect of the application is summarized as follows. The applicants propose to recognize an as-built dock. Relief is requested from sections 4.1.7 and 4.1.7.1 of bylaw 2014-14 as amended, being the minimum side yard setback requirement of 30 feet for a dock. The as-built dock has been constructed 28 feet from the northerly side lot line projection. The variance requested is 2 feet. Notice of this public hearing was circulated 25 days in advance of today's meeting in accordance with the Planning Act, and 3 comments have been received. Comments have been received from Tim Sopko, the Township Public Works Technician, Nick Snyder, the Township's Chief Building Official, and Douglas Holland, the Township Fire Prevention Officer. These comments were circulated to committee prior to today's meeting, and I can read any comments in full at the request of committee. Staff have prepared a detailed report for committee's consideration and have recommended that minor variance application A-103/22 be approved. Staff have no further comments at this time, but I'm happy to answer any questions from committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I believe we have the agent in.
Yes, hi, Adam Lenny, the permit guy, 35 Covered Bridge Trail, Bracebridge, P1L1Y1. Thank you all for hearing us today on this application. This dock was permitted last year by our company and met all bylaws and building codes. The dock contractor had built the dock, but too close to the north line by 1.7 feet. The contractor has since disappeared when all this came to light at final inspection with the township and has left the homeowners to deal with the financial burden and outcome of this meeting. The applicants have had on-site meetings with both neighbors, the Vesleys to the south, as well as the Camerons to the north and affected property. Neither neighbor has any issue with the relief requested and feel for them in this unique situation they've been put in. Thanks in advance, and please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And is there anyone else here wishing to speak in support? Anyone in opposition? Okay, are there questions from the members? Seeing none. Moved by member Bridgman, second by member Quinn. Be it resolved that application A10322 Morrow and Mezak to recognize an as-built dock is hereby approved with the following variance being granted. 1, permit a side yard setback of 28 feet from the northerly side lot line projection for a dock. This variance is granted as shown on the plan attached to the notice of decision. This approval shall remain in effect for 3 years from the date of decision. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Okay, and that is carried. And seeing there's no correspondence or unfinished business or information items, there is no new business. I will read the last motion, last resolution. Moved by member Quinn, second by member Brown. Be it resolved, the meeting adjourned at 10:16 a.m. All those in favor? Thank you. This is going to set some sort of a record for this year, I believe, but thank you all for your help and welcome to the new members and have a good day.